Obviously, incredibly disappointed, in particular with our defensive effort and inability to get stops to start the game. No excuse to allow Syracuse, who I understand is a very good offensive team, to get 25 points through the first 8 minutes. I think it's 25 to 14 at the end of the first 8 minutes of the game. They go 9 of 10 from the field, 4 of 4 from three. We talked a lot going into this game about their big four of Jimmy Boeheim and Buddy Boeheim and Joe Girard and Swider, and trying to take away their rhythm threes and make the game hard on them, and we didn't do that. And unfortunately, right now our team isn't doing a good enough job, it goes without saying, of understanding the significance of getting stops. We're a talented team. We're not talented enough that we can come out and have a defensive showing like we did pretty much the whole night, giving up way too many threes and way too many points.
Take the first question from Brett.
Yeah, Mike, you talked yesterday about how positive these guys have been, how they've managed to maintain that good attitude despite what's going on. How do you, after a game like this, how do you try to keep them in that headspace?
Well, on Monday we'll come in and we'll watch film and hopefully learn from where we went wrong defensively. I thought to start the game, our off-the-ball defense, when they got into a ball screen, was awful. We didn't have guys where they needed to be, so we gave up dunks. And then when we didn't give up layups or dunks, we gave up threes. So I would like to think that the guys will come in with the right attitude. We talked about that in the locker room post-game, about having more of a serious nature and a maturity level about us to come in and learn on Monday from the film. But eventually that has to be carried over onto the court, and we got to do a far better job of being able to put stops together.
Tyler?
Hey, Mike, you guys have referenced with defensive issues in the past, mainly like effort as the main issue. Was that the main issue today, or just lack of communication, or what did you see out?
Yeah, we flat out Tyler today didn't have guys that understood their job. And if they understood it, they certainly didn't do it. I don't know that it was so much effort. I think that our guys intended to play hard and at times did play hard, but it was more so of a lack of defensive execution and an inability to make multiple efforts. Defense is hard, especially against a good team that spreads you out the way that Syracuse does. Oftentimes you have to be able to go from helping cover for a teammate and then recovering to your man and being able to take away a rhythm three as well as guard the ball. And so, far too often throughout the game, certainly to start the game, we couldn't do that. We had multiple guys that just couldn't get that job done. So it's my job to find 5 guys that can defend at a high level and not make excuses when it comes to that.
Go to Michael and then Eric.
Hey, Mike, obviously you've been coaching for quite a while. You've coached a bunch of different guys with different mindsets, attitudes. Are you a little surprised that the team came out the way they did, especially after, the positive practices, the more tough efforts against Duke and North Carolina? Did it kind of take you by surprise?
Well, we want to come in and go down. I thought that we went down early and we battled back, and it was maybe 11-10 at one point. So I felt pretty good. I thought we went into it. Quite frankly, Syracuse made some really tough shots at times. Sometimes, they made some shots, Buddy Boeheim, Joe Girard, but we were right there. But it's the ones they're wide open that we just can't afford to give up. Syracuses Zone does present some problems. We knew that going into the game. We thought we had a pretty good game plan against it. Obviously, our coaching staff, myself, that starts with me. We got to create an even better game plan for our guys. I thought that we got some good looks at times. They didn't go in. And then we made some mistakes, right? We jumped to pass or we turned the ball over against their zone. They play it every day, so they're really good at it, and they take advantage of that type of stuff. So I thought that our guys, after initially going down, they fought back. It was 11-10, and again, we just couldn't string together stops to keep ourselves. We couldn't string together enough stops to keep ourselves in the game.
Eric?
Mike, I was going to ask you about open shots. You got a lot of good looks that just didn't fall. Is that maybe a little bit, you don't want that to affect your defense, but psychologically, assuming that, you were prepared for what they were doing. You knew what they were going to do defensively. Is some of that just from missing open shots? It's some that have been a problem all season a little bit.
Well, yeah, we got some good looks, Eric. And, the Dome is a weird place to play. We got a lot of shots up this morning. We got a lot of shots up. We adjusted our pregame routine so that the guys can get a lot of shots up before the game. And, unfortunately, we got some looks that we just didn't knock down. And when you're playing Syracuse, a team that is as efficient as they are offensively, you got to be able to make some shots to stay in the game. I thought that at halftime, I think we were 2 for 16 from 3. And I told the guys, hey, let's get stops. We were down like 17, if I'm not mistaken. Let's get some stops, and eventually they'll start to go in. And quite frankly, they really didn't start to fall. Noah made a couple at the end that really didn't impact the game, but it was good for him to see the ball go through the rim. Hopefully that carries over to Wednesday.
I wonder if I could ask you, just because a lot of people ask us about J.J. Traynor and his status, and obviously to play him at this point in the season is probably not what's best for him, but what is his situation? He has not played in a long time.
Yeah, we're going to talk with J.J. and his family this week about something that they wanted to talk to us about, but it's certainly not anything personal. JJ's been working hard. He's a good kid. He's got a bright future. But playing JJ tonight, to be quite honest with you, Eric, wouldn't have saved the day, right? We got to be able to get some stops, and we got to be able to make some shots.
Michael and then Brett.
On a similar note, how's Rose coming along? Obviously, he's missed a few games since the concussion. What's his status at this point?
Yeah, hopefully we can get Rose back in practice on Monday. He's still struggling with meeting the baseline expectations for return to play. Evidently, he took a pretty good knock, and he hasn't quite recovered yet. He's still having problems with loud noises and, lights and whatnot. So I'll leave that in the doctor's hands, our trainer's hands, and hopefully we can get him out there as soon as possible and get him out there for Notre Dame on Wednesday.
Brett?
Mike, you mentioned the dunks. I think they had 6 dunks and a bunch of layups. And I wonder, you guys, especially without Malik, you don't have a lot of length. You're not playing with a whole bunch of size. So what do you have to do to kind of make up for that when you just don't have those kinds of bodies?
Yeah, well, like I said, hopefully, I would tell you this, honestly, Brett, like the length is good, right? Everybody wants length at the rim. But at the same time, we literally don't have a body where it needs to be. And so if there's a big body, or a body for that matter, where we need it, given the ball screen defense, then they don't get dunks. They don't get wide open layups. We had to change our defensive coverage to switching 1 through 5 because we couldn't handle our traditional ball screen defensive coverage. And it's on me to find 5 guys that can do that. And if I got to play 5 guys 40 minutes because they know what they're doing on the defensive end, then that's what I'm going to do. Because at this point, we got to find a way to win a game.
Last question from Tyler.
Mike, I believe Michael kind of hinted at this a little bit, but you guys, those were high energy efforts against Duke and North Carolina. Then you got to go on the road to a tough place like the Carrier Dome. Was there any part of you that was a little concerned maybe a letdown could happen after 2 games like that and with a road contest like this?
No letdown. I'm not into letdowns. Like, we got to be the same team every day. We had a good game plan, or so we thought coming into it. They exposed our ball screen defense. We couldn't get stops. We didn't talk to start the game. The one thing that bothered me was the lack of enthusiasm, in particular on the defensive end. We couldn't have talked about it more. I'm going to tell you something. I'm a little pissed off at our guys in the sense that the enthusiasm and the attention to detail was not there. And as an interim head coach stepping into what I know has been a tough situation for our guys, there will be no excuses. You will show up every day. You will have a level of enthusiasm, attention to detail, and toughness on every possession. And if not, I have to find 5 guys to win.
Thank you, Coach. We'll be back shortly with Sidney Curry. Had 8 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists today.